So when we log into the portal, we're going to click on Claims Connection and then Workspace. When we get into the workspace, it gives us two panels, Dashboard, which is covered in a separate video, and Seach Claims, which we're going to cover here. So you have a lot of different fields here that you can use to search with, and it really just depends on what you're trying to accomplish with your search. So when we look at date type, we have options for received date or date of service. So if I'm logging in here to work aging, I'm wanting to find claims for a certain patient for a certain date of service to find out what happened to them, then I'm going to do a date of service search. If I'm logging in here to look at all of the claims that I sent last week to find out which ones are rejected, then I'm going to use a received date type. Now keep in mind when you're looking at rejections, claims can reject 3, 5, 7 days after you submit them. So you want to make sure you're looking at a good date range when you're searching for rejected claims. Honestly, I tend to go 30 days back just to be completely safe and make sure nothing has been missed. Definitely look at more than just a couple of days. So I'm going to go ahead and say receive date, and then I'm going to fill in my date range. So like I said, I'm going to go 30 days. We can use those little arrows to navigate on our calendars. Then it just depends on what I'm looking for. So inbound payer code, if I wanted to look for all of my Medicare claims, for example, I could put in the payer code for Medicare and get all of my Medicare claims. We've got options for patient last name and first name. So if I was looking for a particular patient, rendering NPI. If you have multiple doctors in your practice and you wanted to look at claims for just a particular rendering provider, you could go ahead and search by rendering NPI. If you were looking up a certain procedure code, I want to make sure, let's say J3301 gives us trouble. I'm going to look at all of my J3301s for the last, 90 days to make sure they've gotten through. I could go ahead and I could search that way. Obviously, the most common is going to be looking for rejected claims so I can fix them. So I'm going to go ahead and for claim status, I'm going to pick rejected. Now, I do want to remind you, you may see denied here and say stop. But denied are claims that have denied on an EOB or ERA level. So you have been informed about those denials somewhere else. You probably have a workflow that you've always used about how you're addressing denied claims at an EOB level. Now, you can certainly adjust and decide you want to work them from here, and that's fine. But you do get notified of denied claims somewhere else. Rejected claims, on the other hand, you're only going to get notified of in this portal. So you do want to make sure you're looking for those. When looking for rejected claims, you also want to make sure you're updating status. Now, we're going to cover claims themselves in another video because I have to be able to blur out the patient information, so I'd rather only do that once. But you will see in that other video that as you address a claim and you fix it, you're going to go ahead and check a little box indicating that it's worked and it's done. So what that means is when you're searching for new rejected claims that have to be addressed, you're going to be searching for claims that are not worked. All right. That's how you're going to make sure you get claims that have not been addressed yet. Another field that I really like that I haven't seen in other clearinghouses is this error message screen. So I tend to like to do things in groups. So like if I want to work all of my diagnosis level rejections, I could just type the word diagnosis in here if that's what was in the message. And then once I search, it would go ahead and give me all of my claims that have rejected because of the word diagnosis. And it is kind of a fuzzy search. I've got one where it was for a Medicaid provider number and provider's like way at the end of the message, and I typed in provider and it still found it. So if you do like to see things kind of grouped that way, that is a really nice field. And when you've got everything filled in the way you want it, make sure you go ahead and hit that search claims button, which I'm not going to do because I don't want the data right now. But you fill in your fields and then you hit search claims, and then it will return down here all of your individual patients or individual claims rather that have denials and what's wrong with them, which we will cover in another video.